The story begins in the Age of Heroes, when kingdoms rose and fell by the will of warriors, and glory was valued over peace. Greece is fractured into powerful kingdoms, each ruled by kings driven by ambition. At the heart of this conflict is Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, whose insatiable thirst for power knows no limits. Determined to unite Greece under his rule, Agamemnon wages war on a rival kingdom, bringing his army to its gates. To avoid unnecessary bloodshed, a duel is proposed between the champions of each side. Victory in this duel will decide the fate of the kingdom. Agamemnon's confidence remains unshaken, for he knows his greatest warrior, Achilles, will answer the call. Achilles, Greece's mightiest warrior, enters the battlefield with an air of disdain for the politics of war. Born of the sea goddess Thetis and a mortal king, it's said that his mother dipped him into the river Styx as a child, granting him near invincibility, save for his heel. The rival champion steps forward, a massive, heavily armored giant wielding a titanic spear. The soldiers on both sides hold their breath as the duel begins. Achilles, shirtless and armed with only a short sword, approaches with unshakable calm, exuding confidence. The giant charges, his massive spear shaking the earth. Achilles sidesteps effortlessly, moving with the grace of a predator. The giant swings again, but Achilles is too fast, too precise. With a single leap, Achilles drives his blade into the giant's neck, ending the fight in an instant. The battlefield erupts in stunned silence as the giant collapses. Achilles lands gracefully and strides toward the opposing army. While Agamemnon focuses on his conquest, two Trojan princes, Paris and Hector, arrive in Sparta under the pretense of negotiating peace. It is here that Paris, driven by fate, meets Helen, the wife of King Menelaus. Their attraction is immediate and undeniable, sparking a forbidden romance that becomes the catalyst for the devastating war between Troy and Greece. Paris, using his charm and persuasive words, manages to convince Helen to abandon her husband, King Menelaus, and sail back to Troy with him. This bold and treacherous act sends shockwaves through Sparta, reverberating with the betrayal that Helen, once loyal, has now turned her back on her marriage. Menelaus, heartbroken and enraged, is consumed by a fury that knows no limits. The scene where Paris and Helen secretly flee Sparta under the cover of night is intense and charged with emotion, a mixture of passion and dread as they make their way toward the ships. As they sail away, leaving behind the life Helen once knew, Menelaus uncovers their betrayal. His fury erupts like a storm, and he swears vengeance upon Paris and Troy. This act of betrayal marks the beginning of a war that will engulf both kingdoms and alter the course of history forever. Helen's elopement with Paris gives Menelaus the perfect excuse to seek vengeance, prompting him to turn to his brother Agamemnon for help. Agamemnon, always eager to expand his empire, sees this as an ideal opportunity to launch an all-out assault on Troy. His motives go far beyond merely recovering Helen. He aims to assert his power and establish dominance over the region. To achieve this, Agamemnon calls upon the Greek kings, assembling their armies for what will become a colossal invasion. Among the warriors summoned is the legendary Achilles, whose skill and reputation on the battlefield are unmatched. However, Achilles has little interest in following Agamemnon's orders, and his disdain for the king's leadership makes him reluctant to join the campaign. Despite his desire to avoid the conflict, Achilles is eventually persuaded to take part, recognizing that his involvement is vital to the success of the Greeks. The declaration of war is a grand, ominous spectacle, with countless ships assembling for the impending invasion. The air is thick with tension as the Greeks prepare for the bloody campaign, aware that the fate of Troy, and their own legacies, hangs in the balance. As the Greek fleet approaches Troy, Achilles' ship sails ahead of the others, a striking symbol of his determination and prowess. The cinematography here is stunning, showing the vastness of the sea filled with ships, all following the fearless Achilles. Upon landing on Trojan shores, Achilles leads his Myrmidons in a ferocious assault, swiftly capturing the Trojan beach. This high-octane scene showcases Achilles' unmatched ferocity in battle, as he cuts through enemy soldiers with ease. The Greeks secure a foothold, but tensions between Achilles and Agamemnon escalate as Achilles claims the victory for himself, refusing to acknowledge Agamemnon's authority. Before the war intensifies, tensions reach a boiling point when Paris, emboldened by his stolen love, faces off against Menelaus in a duel. The two men engage in a fierce battle, driven by betrayal and honor. Menelaus quickly gains the upper hand, and it seems as though Paris is doomed. Menelaus nearly strikes the killing blow, but just as he prepares to end Paris's life, Hector steps in. In a swift and brutal move, Hector kills Menelaus, ensuring the duel ends with his intervention and sending shockwaves through both sides. This pivotal act of violence propels the war into full motion, with both sides preparing for the inevitable conflict. As the war rages on, Patroclus, Achilles' cousin, is consumed with the desire to join the battle despite Achilles' warning. Disguised in Achilles' armor, Patroclus ventures into the fray, hoping to turn the tide of battle. But fate is cruel. In the midst of the clash, Hector mistakes Patroclus for Achilles and, in a fierce confrontation, strikes him down, cutting his throat and ending his life. This tragic mistake seals Patroclus' fate, leaving Achilles shattered with grief and consumed by rage.
Driven by an unrelenting thirst for revenge, Achilles made his way to the gates of Troy, his heart burning with anger. There, he called out Hector, challenging him to a duel. Hector, knowing he could not avoid his fate, stepped forward to face his destiny. The battle that followed was intense, with both warriors displaying incredible skill and courage. But Hector was no match for the might and precision of Achilles, who struck him down with a decisive blow, leaving him lifeless on the battlefield. Blinded by his rage, Achilles tied Hector's lifeless body to his chariot and dragged it through the dust, a devastating show of dominance that echoed through Troy. As night fell, King Priam, fueled by his love and grief, made the brave journey to Achilles' camp. Overwhelmed with emotion, he knelt before Achilles, humbly pleading for the return of his son's body so that Hector could be honored with a proper funeral.
As the war reaches its climax, the Greeks devise a cunning plan. A massive wooden horse, seemingly left as an offering of surrender, is placed on the shores of Troy. The sight of the horse sparks curiosity and debate among the Trojans. Despite warnings from Cassandra, a prophetess cursed to never be believed, the Trojans ultimately decide to bring the horse into the city, celebrating what they believe to be their long-awaited victory over the Greeks. Under the cover of night, Greek soldiers hidden inside the horse emerge stealthily, opening the gates for the rest of their army, who return under the veil of darkness. The fall of Troy is a harrowing sequence of chaos and devastation. Flames engulf the once mighty city as its people fight desperately for survival. Families are torn apart, and the city's grandeur is reduced to ashes. Amid the turmoil, Achilles embarks on one final mission, rescuing Briseis, a Trojan priestess with whom he has fallen deeply in love. In a poignant conclusion to his story, Achilles meets his end at the hands of Paris. Using a well-aimed arrow to the heel, Achilles' only vulnerability, Paris fatally wounds the legendary warrior. The death of Achilles is both tragic and symbolic, marking the fall of a hero whose relentless quest for glory and immortality ultimately led to his demise. Troy is more than just a tale of war and destruction. It delves deeply into themes of love, honor, loyalty, and the devastating price of ambition. From Paris and Helen's forbidden romance to Achilles' internal struggle with fate, every character's journey is steeped in raw emotion and profound depth, making the story timeless and universally resonant.